Hey, friends. Welcome to Boldly You, the podcast for inspiring stories which consist of daring choices and transformative journeys. From entrepreneurs to everyday heroes, we are exploring the messy and motivating sides of making big changes. Whether it's a career leap or something deep, Boldly You is your go-to for living life unapologetically bold. Now, let's get right into it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Boldly You podcast. I'm your host, Destinee Mackey. It's nice to be back. This is my first official, full episode of me talking about something on the podcast. So I'm super excited for today. I know my introduction to the podcast on the last episode was very short and sweet, but I really just wanted to kind of give a brief overview on what the podcast was about. But today I want to go into some more detail, and I hope you got the time. I wanted to start the Boldly You podcast because I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. I love getting to know people's stories, and I've always been this way. And I was originally doing these interviews on Instagram where I would have guests every Monday night, and we would talk about a part of their life. We would talk about a part of their business. And I enjoyed doing them. I just hated using Instagram live stream. It's too slow. You can only use your phone to join. You can't use your laptop to join any lives yet. And they just need to get it together. But it was just too messy. It was really annoying. And long story short, I enjoyed doing what I was actually doing once everything was all set up and good to go, but I just hated using that platform. So I'm like, I'm just going to create a podcast and essentially do the same exact thing, but maybe a little bit different, obviously. So I want to bring on guests in the future who have stories to share, like their real, raw, unfiltered stories, and also talk about how they got to where they are today. You know, what inspired them, what influenced them, what pushed them to go that route. And that's what I love to talk to people about when I meet new people. And so this is a really great way to connect and also just to learn and be inspired. And I know that some of the listeners, I know that there is probably some inspiration that you are looking for in your own life. There's a reason why we like to listen to other people's stories when they go from rags to riches or from something really horrific to something really beautiful. And it's because we're all trying to find that meaning in our life. And sometimes we just need inspiration from other people. We need to hear about what they experience to do that in our own lives. But I wanted to kind of slide in today and talk a little bit about small talk. I think this is a great segue into it because when I invite people on the podcast, I don't want to just do small talk. Hey, hi, how you doing? How's life? Oh, you're in this field. That's cool. I want to know the ugly, the bad, the good, the motivational. I want to know all of that in between. And it's not just something that I do here on the podcast or I do online when I meet people. When I meet people and talk to people in person, I don't want any of that small talk. I don't. And I've always hated small talk. To me, it's just so passive, it's invaluable. The whole point of existing here on this earth and being a human is to make connections with people. And you really can't connect with many people with small talk. It's okay if you have to kind of use it as a segue to get into the deeper meaning of things. But I feel like I've had conversations within these past few years that just felt very like I was hitting a wall. I would try to segue into a conversation and get to know people a little bit more, and they just kind of block you off. And that's fine. You know, not everybody wants to talk. I'm not saying that they absolutely have to talk to me, but it just seems like some people I talk to, you can tell that they're existing and they're not fully living in the present. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't seem like they have anything that inspires them or that makes them feel ambitious or valuable in their life. And they don't necessarily have anything to talk to other people about, you know? And it's sad because maybe they felt like they couldn't talk about themselves or they felt shame to talk about themselves or they really just don't have anything going on. You never know because they don't tell you, right? Small talk. But I think it's really interesting this movement we're kind of moving into in our community where people want to be really raw and open and honest and we're being truthful about how we feel and we're not necessarily hiding ourselves anymore. And I feel like that was the norm for so many people decades ago. And now we're just letting it all out. We're like, we're tired of the secrets. We're tired of hiding things. We're tired of hiding who we are. You know, if you like me, you'll like me. If you like what I do, you'll like what I do. It is what it is. And that's really the approach that I'm trying to go with people. But, you know, there's still going to be people that are stuck in that kind of shell where they just don't want to share information or they want to be very passive in their conversations. But I'm not one of those people. I mean, nothing drives me crazier. I know a lot of us have probably experienced this. Nothing drives me crazier than when you have a 9 to 5 that you go through Monday through Friday. And every single morning when you go into work, you say hi to your boss. How are you? That's it. You go home the next day. Hi, boss. How are you? You go home. That's it. Like that is every single day. That drives me damn near mad. I don't know about you, but I'm like, God, I see the same people every single day, and there's no extra value from the day before. There's nothing. There's nothing there. There's no substance. Although I've had some really great managers where I feel like I could have those deep conversations with and talk about the weird things and the random things. And I'm so grateful for them. But you know, I think we've all had bosses either currently or at some point where it's just like you're doing the same thing every day because it's routine and that's what you're supposed to do, but it's boring. It's boring. There's no value. And we're taught that that's kind of the norm and that's kind of what to expect when you enter the workforce, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I really hope it changes because it's maddening. It's maddening. Like, I want to talk about aliens and I want to talk about Egyptians and where the pyramids came from. And I want to talk about other cultures and I want to learn about other people like deeply, you know, like that's what I love to talk about. That's what I love to learn about other people. Ask them those deep questions, you know? Is it just me? Is it just me? I don't think it's just me. I think there's a lot of people out there that can agree with me right now. Like, I don't really care for TikTok that much, but I really enjoy listening to people's story times or listening to the horrible thing that happened to somebody at work that, you know, it's a little controversial to talk about publicly, but I love that stuff because that is life. Like, that's the truth. That is real. It's like we all experience life-like things, but we don't wanna talk about it, and we're taught to not talk about it, and it's weird to me. Like, why are we trying to hide such a human thing? Why are we being shamed to ask these questions or to hide this information? Why are we not open about it? It's just weird, man. It's just weird. That's why Boldly You is going to be so good and fun and open because we're going to be talking about all of that. We're going to be truthful and honest, and people are going to be sharing their expertise in some things too. But I really want to know about you and a little bit about what you went through that got you to where you are today. And it's whether I'm talking to you on a computer screen or if I'm talking to you in person, it's the same. And I don't like wasting my energy with people that don't want to talk about those things. I really don't. I had one application for the podcast that, you know, I'm not going to mention who they are or anything, but on the form, I asked people, what do you feel comfortable talking about? What do you feel comfortable sharing about your life that, you know, you want to be open and honest and raw about? And this one person really didn't share anything. It was very small talk-ish. Like, they wanted to talk about how they had a family and they had kids and that they have this business, but I'm like, "But where's the jazz? Where's the pizzazz? Like, where's the realness?" This is your typical American home life, middle class family type situation that you're throwing at me, but, like, where's the beginning? Like, how did we get here? Let's talk about that part. But this person was just very, very vague and didn't share that detail. It's not giving anything real. I mean, it is real, don't get me wrong, it's their real life, but it's not the nitty-gritty. It's not the painfully real, let's say that. It's not the painfully real truth about how you got to where you are. And you know what? I can also recognize that some people don't have that type of upbringing. Some people have really good upbringings and don't have anything ugly or nasty or bad to share. But I just find it hard to believe that you've always had a perfect, positive life and nothing has ever gone wrong. There's always something that happens in our life that is not so good and that we need to talk about and be open about because life's not always pretty and perfect and fabulous on the outside. It's not. And even if it may look that way, it certainly is not. It doesn't always come from a perfect place. And I've been talking about this in conversations and in the interviews and everything, but I also feel like on a cultural level, it certainly is starting to shift, and it's interesting to observe. I feel like there's a lot of truths coming out in our governments and in our economy and in politics. And I'm really interested to see how all of this is going to unravel because I feel like we were sold this hunky dory life and everything's fine and our government has it under control. But all these dark secrets are starting to come out and all of these dark truths are starting to come forward and people are starting to question these things. Like, is this real? Is this the truth? Is this our reality? And so, with younger people being more honest and open and not hiding the ugly anymore, it's going to be really interesting to see this. But I'm really glad it's going there because it just seemed like, I know during my youth, it just seemed like you couldn't really talk about your feelings because people would make fun of you for it or they'd gaslight you about it and say that it was stupid or it wasn't important or you should just ignore it and move on. But now we're actually like really diving in and talking about it and feeling it, you know? And it's such a nice change because when you talk about the realness, when you talk about the ugly, the pain, the serious things, sometimes it gives people the confidence and the courage to come out about their own problems that maybe other people have felt shameful or bad about expressing. And when you start that dialogue and when you allow people to express who they really are and what they're really feeling, it's really great to see them kind of blossom. It's going to bring out something beautiful in them. I feel like when you rip off the band-aid, you are able to finally heal. You're able to finally see the truth and what all of this is all about in your own life. I know that was certainly the case for me. I had a spiritual awakening, quarter life crisis, whatever you want to call it, at the end of 2022. And I feel like ever since then, in that moment, I was being real and honest with myself and I wasn't covering my problems and my realizations up with a band aid. I was actually letting it out and being open about it. And ever since then, I just feel like I've blossomed and I've bloomed into something amazing and I'm still blossoming and I'm still blooming and I'm a little scared to see what's going to happen at the very end, but I'm also excited and I also deserve it. And you do too. You do too. But sometimes you just got to be real. You got to hear the real. You got to be open. You got to feel that openness in order for you to move on and move past whatever it is that you've been holding back on. Cut the small talk, man. We don't need any of that. Give me the real shit. That's what I want. But it's so important to be honest and vulnerable and open and make connections with people. That's the whole point of why we're here. I myself have neglected that for a long time as well. I didn't think that other people were that important, but they are. It's what makes a life great, having connections with people. And we've lost that. We've been really divided, and it's really sad to see what has happened. I think part of it's social media, but I think social media can also connect you. I just think we need to find that balance between real life and social media. But connection is so important. We're social creatures. We need it. And without it, it's not a very good end. It's not. It's very lonely. And nobody wants to be lonely. So I hope we can come to a better place in the future where we can start being even more honest and open with each other in our everyday interactions and even online, and just accept that we're all real people going through real things. We don't have to shame each other. We don't have to shame ourselves. We can do it. And once more and more people come to that comfortable reality within themselves, the world's going to be a beautiful place. Beautiful place. But you have to fix your own stuff within you. But sometimes you just need that inspiration. You need to hear it from somebody else so you can finally see that within yourself. So I really hope you enjoyed today's conversation. It's really going to be a huge basis for this podcast. And next week, I have a wonderful guest episode planned. It's going to be a little bit different topic, but I hope you stick around and hang out with us. And we're in this for the long haul, folks. So don't go anywhere. Until next time, you all stay bold and you continue to think about how you can choose to be bold going forward. See ya. And that's a wrap on another episode of Boldly You. I hope you're feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to make some bold moves in your own life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Connect with us on social media. Share your own bold moments, your challenges, and your victories. We want to hear from you. Until next time, this is Destinee Mackey, urging you to be you and be bold.